For those of you that don't know me, my name is Sam and I'm based in the Midlands in the UK. Today we are going to be having a class for using the yoga wheel. I know probably a lot of you have got them at home, maybe even never used them. Well, now's the time to dust it off and get it out. There are two different sizes of wheel. I'm going to be using the YOGABODY Wonder Wheel today, which is a 15-inch wheel. But it doesn't matter if you've got one of the smaller ones, which are more widely available in the UK. So grab hold of your wheel. And the other props that you're going to need today are two blocks. Now your blocks need to be the same size. We're going to be using those for support, and it's very important that they are the same size and that they are quite sturdy, that they will take your weight. You also will be needing a blanket. The blanket is for the comfort of your knees. We're going to be kneeling down quite a little bit, and it's just nice to have that little bit of padding underneath us. So get your props together. Find yourself a nice, quiet, comfortable place in the house. And our focus today with our yoga wheel is going to be very much on stretch and relax. So it's quite a lovely, slow moving class. And we are going to be giving ourselves a little bit of a massage and really getting to work with using the wheel for just stretching, not only stretching with our muscles, but also our fascia, that interconnective tissue that weaves its way right through our body. So to start off with, sit yourself up nice and tall. Just place your wheel down in front of you. They do have a habit of rolling off, so pop it down in front of you. Sit yourself up, shoulders stacked over hips. Relax the shoulders down and just have the chin nice and parallel to the floor. So we're sitting lovely and upright. Top of the head feels like it's being pulled up towards the sky. And palms can be facing up or down in your lap. Take a moment to just move, relax yourself into the position. And then close your eyes. Take your right hand to your heart, your left hand to your tummy. May this practice heal and strengthen our body and our minds. May this practice heal and strengthen your body and your mind. Relax the hands back into your lap. We're just going to take a few moments here to come into tune with our breath, to just slow things down. Start to take notice of how you are breathing at the moment. Don't try and change it, just take notice. Take notice of how fast you're breathing. Take notice of the texture of your breath. How that breath feels as it's entering your body. And how it feels as it's exiting the body. We're going to incorporate our yoga breathing, so inhaling and exhaling through our noses. So for the next few breaths, start to inhale through the nose, feel that expansion through the chest as the lungs fill up, and the belly very softly raising. And then exhaling every single last drop away. Nice deep and full inhalations and full exhalations. Inviting the calmness in with each and every breath and exhaling away the tension. So it could be physical tension within the body that you're exhaling away. It could be emotional tension. Just exhale. Exhale something negative away with each breath. So really deep and full. Starting to slow the breaths down. Inviting the calmness in exhaling the tension away. Once you've got the flow going of the deep and full inhalations and exhalations, we're going to balance our breath. So by balancing the exhales to the same time as your inhales. So in your next in-breath, take notice of how long that breath is. And then match it with the exhalation. So if you're inhaling to a count of 4, we want to be exhaling to a count of 4 too. And by balancing our breath, that's just keeping your nervous system nice and calm, relaxed, your body balanced. And by calming the nervous system, relaxing the body, we're also relaxing our mind as well. So we're going to take 2 more full rounds of breath here. Deep and full. Nicely balanced. And then float the eyelids open, just allowing the brain to reconnect with your surroundings. We're going to keep that breath going right through our practice today. When we look at coming into the stretches, we're going to hold those stretches for several breaths, and to avoid your mind wandering off to other things, I want you to focus on your breathing. So focus on the inhales, the exhales, and if the mind wanders, maybe count those breaths. Just bring your awareness into the room, into the here and the now. Good, so stand your wheel up. And like I said earlier, they do have a habit of wandering off, just wheeling themselves off in all directions. So do be aware of that. We're going to bring the wheel in line with our right hip to start off with, and we're going to place our right palm onto the top of the wheel. Sitting yourself up nice and tall, we're going to inhale the left arm up. And on the exhale, we're going to start to walk the wheel over to the right, keeping it in a nice straight line with your right hip. And just using the right palm to walk it that little bit further. So we want to keep our ears in line with our arms, in line with our triceps, so you're looking forwards. Your head is nice and neutral, so the neck, there's no tension in the neck. And we're really lengthening out through our left arm. Push the left bum cheek into the mat. So what we don't want to be doing is rolling up and over to the right. And then try to externally rotate your armpit a little bit, so that the armpit is facing forwards for that lovely stretch. And we're here for a few breaths. Each inhale, think about lengthening, making space within the body. And on the exhales, as your body starts to soften, you may be able to walk that wheel just a tiny little bit further away. Very early on in our practice though, so don't overstretch, just work with your body's limits. And then allow gravity and your breathing to do the rest of the work for you. So still keeping those deep inhalations and exhalations going. And just feeling that lovely stretch right down the left outside arm, left side body, the ribs over the left hip. Wonderful. Next in-breath, just really gradually start to bring yourself to an upright position, and as you do so, you're rolling your wheel in. So we're going to switch sides, take hold of your wheel, place it on the left side of your mat, in line with the left hip, left palm down. Sit yourself up nice and tall, inhaling the right arm up this time, and on the exhale, we're starting to walk our wheel over to the left, really gradually. And just finding that lovely stretch, finding that point where it starts to become maybe a little bit uncomfortable, and then stopping there and working with our inhales, again to lengthen, to make that space, and the exhales where we maybe sink that little bit deeper into the space that we've made. Maybe you can walk the fingers a little bit further, the wheel a little bit further as we come into the stretch. So we're pushing the right hip down into the floor. We're externally rotating our right armpit and lengthening through that right arm. And just breathing, just being, just allowing those breaths to work their magic, for gravity to pull us that little bit closer towards the ground. Two more breaths here, two more deep and full inhalations and exhalations. And then very gradually, just working our way up. Taking hold of our wheel and placing the wheel in front of us. So, we've been cross-legged. Just switch whichever leg was at the back to the front and vice versa. Sit yourself up nice and tall again. Just going to move myself back so that I'm still in view. So we want to have the wheel directly in front of us. Both hands on the wheel, and I always find to aid a little bit of support that I'm just curling the little finger and the next finger just around the inside of the wheel. So you're going to inhale and sit up really tall. Think about lengthening the spine away from the hips, and on the exhale you're going to start to push forward using your palms, but as you do, we want to come in a straight line, so we're hinging from the hips, we're not curling the chin to the chest. We're leaning forward, lengthening, making space. And then once you hit that point where you're starting to feel that little bit uncomfortable, then giving in, relaxing, bowing the head down. So you're pushing the tailbone into the floor, you're lengthening through the spine, lengthening through the arms. Head, shoulders gently, just drifting down towards the mat. So working into our shoulders here, you should feel that lovely stretch. And again, just working with your breath. Focus with that breath. Allow gravity to maybe pull you a little bit closer towards the floor. And just feeling that stretch right from the tailbone to the tips of your fingers. Across your shoulders. We're here for 2 more full rounds of breath. Next in breath, just gently bring your gaze to look towards your wheel, and then slowly using your palms, wheel forwards, bringing yourself into a nice upright position. Good, so we're going to just set our mat up now, ready for some of those amazing massages and stretches. So grab hold of your blanket, and you want to have it sort of folded so it's not too bulky, there's no ridges underneath, and just take the blanket about 2/3 of the way down your mat and then kneel on it. Take hold of your blocks, and we're going to place the blocks on the highest end, either side of your mat. Wheel your yoga wheel forwards, and you want to have the yoga wheel in front of your left thigh. So from here, this is maybe the trickiest part of the practice today. We're going to take our left foot and we're going to place it on top of our yoga wheel. So blocks either side, and you should be able to just touch your fingertips, or if you've got one of the smaller wheels, maybe even the palms onto the block so you can have a really good sturdy hold. Double check that that wheel is in front of your left hip, and that your right and your left hip are in really lovely alignment. And then we're going to just gently start to inch our hips forwards, lengthen through the spine, push the shoulders back, and gaze forwards. So we're here for about 5 breaths, just working into our hip. And just focusing on the breath, just allowing our body to be. Trying to keep that nice upright position. Really deep and full inhalations. Really deep and full exhalations. Still feeling that sense of calmness sweeping through us. Two more full rounds of breath. Good, and then just gently pulling the hips back. So from here, we are going to just roll our wheel forward. So make sure that you have got both hands supporting it, especially if you're a little, if you're new to using the wheel, it can get a little bit, it has a mind of its own, tends to roll away. So we have to just be one step ahead of our wheel to prevent that from happening. And we're going to roll the wheel down so that the calf muscle is sat nice and evenly in the middle of your wheel. So we want to make sure that the wheel is nowhere near the back of our knee or the actual ankle joint. So slap bang in the middle. Then double check that your hips are still in alignment. So by alignment, you want to make sure that the right and the left hip are facing forward and that they are in a nice straight line. So that may mean that you just gently turning, drawing that right hip forward. Good, grab hold of your blocks, and from here we're just very gently going to start to move forward and then backwards. So just gently moving forward. The foot is just nice and relaxed here, so there's no tension, we're not flexing, we're not pointing through, and just making sure that your wheel is not rolling over the back of your knee joint. And start to put a little bit of pressure into that left leg and you'll feel, ooh, really nice little massage on the backs of our calves. So each time we go forward, we're pushing forwards with our hips, and each time you come back, you want to draw that left hip in alignment with your right. So it may feel that you're pulling it back a little bit further than what you would think, but that's what we're looking for. We need to keep the alignment in our pelvis, as well as doing magical things with our muscles. So if you're using this on your own, there's no time limit. You can just do it for as long as you want to, as long as it feels good. Just really slowly working it backwards and forwards. So the next time we pull back, just remember that hip alignment, and using your blocks for support and taking one hand to the wheel, we're going to turn our toes so that they're facing forward. So we're now working on the inside of our calf. Move your blocks back and again slowly start to massage. So it doesn't matter how fast or slow you're going, and if you come across any knots in your legs and your muscles, and you just work with those bits, you can just really feel that, oh yeah, feeling as we're massaging through. It's just really lovely. So I'm just going to go back and forwards 4 or 5 times here. But again, when you're using it at home, just feel free to do it for as long as feels comfortable for you. So just once more, pushing forwards, and always remembering to pull back so that those hips come into alignment. So we're restacking ourselves here, grabbing hold of your wheel, using a block for support. And this time we're going to work on the outside edge of our calf. So don't rush, there's no hurry, but always make sure that you're supported first. Always make sure that that wheel looks like it's going to go forwards, not sidewards. So taking the time to just stack yourself up and then working into the sides. The toes are pointing in the opposite direction. And we are just gently massaging the outside of our muscles. So just 3 or 4 times again on this side. Nice and slow and gentle. You feel that at the same time as massaging into our left calf, we're actually working into that right quad. Good, so last time, pulling back, restacking the hips, and then just realigning the foot so it's back to center again. So this time we are going to start to involve our foot. So to go forward, I want you to point through your toes and start gently to move forwards. And then on an exhale, kicking into the heel, we're going to drag the leg back. So 3 or 4 times more like this. Inhale, pointing through the toe, moving forwards. Exhale, kicking into the heel and dragging it back. Feel good? Excellent. Inhaling forwards. So we're also working into the back of our left thigh. So it's got elements of strength and lots of flexibility, as well as really working into that fascia. Really releasing any knots, any tension we have got in our leg. Good, so one more where we're pointing, inhaling forwards. Maybe holding this time for a few breaths. And always try and keep the head to shoulders nice and relaxed. And then exhaling, kicking into the heel, dragging the foot back, restacking ourselves. Good, so this is where the maneuver again gets that little bit tricky. We're going to turn sideways. So the leg's going to stay where it is. We're going to start to pivot the right knee, so the foot heads backwards. And keeping your leg on your mat. Bring yourself into a nice upwards position. So we're lengthening through the spine, squaring off the shoulders, taking left hand to our left leg. Inhaling the right arm up, and then exhaling, leaning over and feeling that lovely stretch. So it takes a little bit more balance. If you really push the top of the right foot into the floor, that will help to just stabilize. Again, we're just rolling that armpit to face forward, lengthening through our right arm. And just breathing, just being, just feeling that wonderful stretch. Next inhale, coming back up to the center point, taking hold of your blocks, walking the blocks forward, so away from your mat. We're just going to gently turn our leg onto the inside of the calf and then start to move that wheel away. So you can always come down onto your hands if you want to come into a deeper stretch here. So we're working with the adductors, the inside of our thighs. Breathe in. You can even come down, bow the head down, take some nice deep breaths. And just relaxing, very much allowing gravity and your breath to do the work here for us. Good, next inhalation. Gently be stacking yourself, finding your blocks, and gradually just turning yourself back to center point. Twisting the right knee back round, and from here we just removing our leg, bringing our knees together, sitting back on the heels and taking our wheel so that it's in the middle of your body, in between your knees, placing the palms back on the top. Inhaling, sitting up nice and tall. Exhaling, walking that wheel forwards, really stretching through the spine again, pushing the hips to the heels. Lengthening through, inhaling, making that space. Exhaling, sinking the head down between the arms. Inhaling, raising an inch or two, making a little bit more space. Exhaling down. Our Last time, inhaling, coming up, lengthening. Exhaling, floating the head, the shoulders down towards the floor. And just relaxing into it. So maybe the forehead is touching the mat. Maybe it's not, but you're really lengthening through now. Just child's pose. Just taking control of your breath, making sure that those exhales are still balanced with your inhales. One more full round of breath here. And inhaling gently, bringing the gaze towards your wheel, walking the wheel forwards, nice and slowly restacking. So we're going to come into doing exactly the same on the other leg now. So you can just stay in this position and set yourself up with your wheel in front of your right thigh. For the camera's purpose, I'm going to turn myself around so that you still have a good view of me. So I'm going to just come to the other end of my mat. Bring my blocks. And this time we're putting the right sole of the foot onto our wheel. So double check that your wheel is in front of your right thigh, your hips are nicely stacked, have your blocks ready, and then maneuver the right foot up and onto your block. Think about that alignment. So just making sure you're comfortable, your hips are in alignment, pushing the shoulders back, gazing forwards. And just starting to focus again on your breathing, just allowing the hips to gently move forwards. Breathing, softening through. Inhaling and exhaling. So with yoga wheels, we can use them in a very dynamic way as well. And I will add some classes for using it more for a strength and dynamic flow later on over the next few weeks. But today really is very much about that relaxation, that stretching. So this is why we need to really be focusing on our breath. 2 more full rounds of breath here. And then just releasing your wheel forwards. So we're placing the wheel underneath the calf of the right foot this time. So about centre, again just double check that your wheel is in alignment, your hips are in alignment. Take a moment to just get yourself into position, walk your blocks forward a little bit, and then just release your foot. So maybe you waggle it from side to side, make sure that there's no tension there. We want to have that leg as relaxed as possible. And then just starting to roll forwards and back. Forwards and back. And really just feeling that muscle on this side start to relax a little bit more as we do so. The yoga wheel is one of my favourite props. I teach a lot of very dynamic, aerial focused yoga classes, trapeze and silks, and I do tend to get very, very stiff because of that. So the wheel is my go-to place for just releasing that tension. Good, so last one, pulling back, realigning the hips, and we're going to just, using one block for support and a hand for support on the wheel, turn the calf to face inwards, so we're internally rotating through our right leg, restacking the hips, and then gently coming into working with the calf on this side. Just 3 or 4 times but again, when you are working on your own, you can just do it for as long as need be. Cheapest massage we will get, I promise you, and it will feel like you have had a massage. And the great thing is you're working to the bits of your body that you need massaging. Yeah, you can really work at your own pace. Good, so pulling that right hip back in line with the left, and then just angling the right toes out to the side, working with that outer edge of our right calf, and slowly starting to work backwards and forwards on this side, just 4 or 5 times. Ooh, and I can feel it's really knotty on this side. It's like a hurt so good type pain. It's just like, ooh, yeah. And so just once more, rolling forwards. And then rolling back. Again, just using your block, your wheel for support, and angling your leg forwards. Just double check that your hips are still in alignment. So now we're going to make it a more active stretch with our foot. We're going to bring the foot into pointed positions, so pointing through. Inhaling, just moving forwards, really pushing down on the calf. And then exhale, kicking into the heel and dragging it back. Bringing those hips in alignment before starting again. Inhaling, pointing. And exhaling, kicking into the heel, dragging it back. You feel that? Good, isn't it? Inhaling forwards. Exhaling, dragging it back. Flexing that heel. Inhaling forwards. And exhaling back. So this time we're going to hold, so we're going to inhale forwards. And then sink the hips down. And just breathe here for a couple of breaths, just feeling that real stretch. So my knee is shaking, my knees are shaking. That's good, it's just muscle memory kicking in, it means it's doing its job. And then exhale, kicking into the heel, dragging that leg back. Stacking the hips. We're going to come to the side, so make sure that your leg is firmly in place on your wheel. And this time we're going to swing the left foot back. Walk the blocks forward, restack that alignment. Hands onto our hips. Place the right hand onto the right calf, inhale the left arm up, and then exhale over. Just feeling that lovely stretch. Opening that left armpit up. Breathing through. Two more full rounds of breath on this side. So feel that stretch, maybe go that little bit deeper if you can. Lots of balance work going on. Very good for our core, all of this balancing. Challenges our body, it challenges our mind, which is great. When our mind is challenged, then our mind is quiet. It's not worrying about stuff, it's not having all those thoughts. Again, then inhaling, coming up. Taking hold of your blocks and just turning the leg slightly so that the toes are facing in. We're going to come into that deeper stretch on the side. So again, you can move the blocks out of the way if the palms reach the floor, that's cool. Or if you want to, come down onto the forearms, bow the head down. We're here for a few breaths, so just breathe in, feeling that beautiful stretch. Next in-breath, just very gently restacking onto your hands if you were down on the forearms, taking hold of your blocks to support you, and then walking yourself back to face your wheel. And then from here, we're just taking hold of the wheel, releasing the foot down, bringing our knees onto our mat, and just walking your wheel in line with the middle of your body, so in between the knees. And so we're going to come into dolphin pose here. So hands on our wheel. Inhale, push the shoulders back, look forwards. Exhale, start to walk your wheel forward. And what we want to do is try and stack our hips over our knees, so quite a deep stretch here. That is too much for you. Just pop the hips back down to the heels and come into another child's pose stretch. Hold in, breathe in. One more full round of breath. And then slowly starting to pull back, walking the wheel toward you. And then just pop the wheel to one side, remove your blanket, and just pop that out of the way. Sit yourself in the middle of your mat, grab hold of your wheel, and so we're going to straddle through with our legs. So try and have the legs as wide as possible, and we want to be nice and upright. So if you find that you struggle with the forward folds, that your hips get stuck, you can always sit on one of your blocks. You can always pop that block underneath the base of the spine, and what that will do is just raise your hips up and just allows you to come into a much deeper forward fold. Good. So we're going to place the we're going to place the wheel on the inside of our left thigh, right up high. Place the right hand on top of your wheel. We're going to inhale, sit up really tall, and on the exhale, twist the torso, the chest, over towards the left leg. And then we're going to start to roll the wheel forwards with the right arm, and at the same point as we lower down, send the left arm back so it's in line with the right, so you feel a wonderful two-way stretch with your arms, with your spine, but it was also still really working into our legs. Keep those heels nice and active, nice and flexed. So you can drop the right shoulder down, lengthen through the left arm, and breathe. And as you start to soften, you can always walk that wheel a little bit further away, lengthen through your arms. 2 more breaths. And inhaling, just bringing the gaze towards your wheel, and very slowly bring yourself back into upright position. Same thing, opposite side. Wheel inside of the right thigh, left hand palm down on top of the wheel, and with your right arm, we're just going to start to move it back. Inhale, sit up nice and tall. Exhale, twist the chest, the torso over towards the right leg. And then exhale, slowly start to walk the wheel away, drop the nose down towards your knee, lengthen through both arms. Try and keep those arms in a nice straight diagonal line. Bow the head down, breathe, activate, keep those heels active. Focus on your breath. Two more breaths on this side. Roll that left shoulder down. And then slowly on your next in-breath, starting to raise yourself up, walking your wheel a little bit closer towards you. Pop your wheel down in front of you and just pop yourself off of your block if you were sitting on one. Just have the blocks towards the middle of your mat. So with the yoga wheels, one thing that they do allow us to do is to get into some amazing stretches. They're a brilliant prop for just aiding that stretch. And some of the stretches that we're going to be looking at now are involving our spine. So we need to just be a little bit careful. Everybody's spines are different. Some of us have injuries, some of us carry pain with us continuously. And these can be a real benefit to us, but so long as we listen to our bodies. So if at any point during the back bends you feel that you have a pinching, a sharp pain, very gently pull out of it. It just means that you may have gone into it a little bit too deep. You need to take things just that little bit easier. Or it may just be that that particular pose is just not right for your body. Okay, so please be careful. I am not there with you. I can't see what you're doing. So I need you to listen to your bodies and just play safely. Okay, so our first pose we're going to come into is butterfly. So sit yourself in the middle of your mat. Grab hold of your wheel and just bring it in towards the centre of your body. And I always find that the best way of hanging onto the wheel is to actually just wrap my thumbs on the inside. It really controls, it stops the wheel from shooting backwards and also stops you from shooting back with it. Okay, so we're going to bend our knees, have our feet about hip distance apart to start off with, just to support you, and then place the wheel in the centre of the spine. From here we're going to just gently walk the wheel back until we're resting our shoulders on it. Draw the soles of the feet together, so butterfly pose we're coming into. Wiggle down, and you want to have the wheel so that your head and your shoulders are supported. Okay, lengthen through the neck. So chin wants to gently dip down towards your chest. And once you feel that your wheel is nicely supported, just take the hands away from the body. Now I always find that this is really nice. We're here for a few breaths. If you take a block either side of you, you can do two things with it. You can either use it to just prop your legs into position if you're finding that that's just a little bit too deep for your legs, or you can place them flat side down and then place the arms on, so the palms are facing up, the hands are on the blocks, and we're here for 5 breaths. And I want you to focus on relaxing with these breaths. So we're just getting used to that wheel being behind us. We're in butterfly pose, which is a beautiful restorative pose. And that wheel is just pushing gently on that space in between our shoulder blades. Relaxing it through, lengthening the neck. Creating calmness within our bodies. Take the next few breaths to make sure that your breathing is still balanced. Your exhales are the same length of time as your inhales. Focus on softening down through the shoulders. And again, this is one of those poses you can stay here as long as you want to. If when we come to final relaxation, Savasana, at the end of the session, then by all means pop yourself back into this pose. Beautiful, beautiful pose. Good. And then very gently if you have the blocks under your hands, just take them to one side, place the palms down beside you, and then gently push into the palms, chin to chest, pull yourself to upright position, and take your hands to your knees, pull the knees up. Walk the feet back into about hip distance apart, take hold of your wheel, and then just drop the knees out to the side again. So stack yourself up nice and tall. We're going to place our hands onto our wheel again. Inhale, sit up nice and tall, and then exhale, coming into a nice forward fold. Relaxing the head, the shoulders down, lengthening, always lengthening through the spine. So while you're there, relaxing down, one thing that we need to be careful of is when we're going into the back bends, if you need to come out before I guide you out, always bring the chin towards the chest first. The last thing we want is whiplash during our class, so always chin towards the chest first. And then whenever you've been in a back bend, we want to counterpose that by coming into a forward fold. So by going backwards, we're extending through the spine, lengthening it, but we then want to just release any tension that we've built up by flexing, by coming forwards. Good, next inhale, just gazing towards your wheel, walking that wheel in, and then placing the wheel behind you again. So make sure your bum's in the middle of your mat. When we go backwards, you're sitting too far back, especially if you're on laminate flooring or slippy flooring, your wheel is just going to head off in a direction of its own, which is obviously not what we're looking for today. So if you find it helpful to watch me first, then do so, yeah. And one of the other things that you want to avoid is making sharp movements with your neck when we are in these extensions of our spine and our neck. So always err on the side of caution, very gently with the neck first, okay. So if you need to suddenly take a look at what I'm doing again, think gently with the neck, twisting it. Good. So again, we're going to just restack the wheel to the base of the spine. We're going to start to just gently lean it back, but not take it back as far as we did before. So again, you're using your thumb on the inside of each side of your wheel. That wheel is in the center of the spine. You're starting to lean back to help you just push the soles of the feet into the floor for stability. So we're really working with the core muscles here. We're pulling the belly button back towards the spine to just help with that core, help with the balance. And we're just guiding it to our shoulders and allowing the head to just drop back. So now your chin, your face, your gaze is up towards the ceiling this time, yeah. So it's a little bit lower than what we were before. We're going to shuffle the feet closer to us, and whilst we are going into these back bends, we want to make sure that the knees don't knock out to the side. So if you know your knees are going to knock out to the side, you could always just pop a block between your knees and squeeze it. That will just keep that stability in your pelvis, in your hip alignment. If not, lean yourself backwards. And then from here, we're going to push into our feet. So drawing the heels a little bit closer, pushing into the feet, raising the hips up. And then just gently rocking backwards and forwards. So I'm keeping my hands on the wheel. Just gently starting to lower my bum, my hips to the floor. And then raising them back out. So a little bit like bridge pose motion with our hips. Remembering to keep that stability through. So left and right hip, we want to keep that alignment, remember. Gaze is just up towards the sky. And you can make these little rocks as slow or as fast as you want to. And you can hold the positions as you start to feel. So we're working with the upper part of the spine now, in between the shoulders and the rib cage. And that's where we have the least mobility within our spine, because it is holding the rib cage, and obviously the rib cage then comes round to the front of the chest, the sternum. And we can hold a lot of tension there, especially because the shoulders and the top part of our spine are where we end up being sort of crouched over, going in on ourselves. So it's just really lovely to just roll backwards and forwards. Again, you're giving yourself that massage. And then maybe as your body starts to open up, maybe you feel like taking yourself back and just maybe holding, taking the arms out to the side, and just maybe making slightly smaller movements with the head, the shoulders. My head's tickling the prawn, so next time I come up I think I'm going to just walk myself a little bit further down my mat. We're running out of space here, guys. Good, and then you can just really sort of lower the bum more or less to the floor. And raise the hips up and back. If at any point you get tired, remember chin to chest. And slowly sit yourself up. The rest of us, we adjust for a couple more. Backwards and forwards. And even though I'm obviously quite tense because I'm recording this for you guys, I can feel my body opening up, my tension releasing, just releasing happy hormones as well. This cocktail of, ooh, yes, I feel happy. My energy is flowing through my body. I feel good. Today is a good day. Good, last time. So this time we're just dropping your bottom down onto the floor, putting your thumbs back into place on your wheel for stability. Chin to chest, guys, remember, and then rolling yourself to upright position, walking that wheel back in front of us, lengthening through the legs this time, hands onto the wheel, coming into that counter pose, that forward fold. Inhale, sitting up, exhale, rolling forwards, allowing the head to drop down in between your arms, and just breathe in. Focusing on centering the breath to the base of the spine, or any part of your body that just feels a little bit tense. Be here for just a few breaths. And then inhale, bring your gaze towards your wheel, walking that wheel back in. Okay, so I'm going to wiggle my bum down a little bit further, otherwise I'm going to end up putting my head through the door into the kitchen. And then I'm going to restack my wheel behind me. So we're going to look at working a little bit lower down the spine this time. So this time we don't want our head to actually be on the wheel at all. So draw the heels in. Remember to keep the knees quite close together, sort of hip distance apart, or use your block. We don't want that waggling out to the side. We want that stability through the hips. And then using your thumbs for support on your wheel, you're going to start to lean back more or less straight away. So that wheel is about bra height, yeah, it's about mid-center of the back at the moment, so lower than what it was before. And from here, I'm really pushing into my thumbs, pushing the palms into the mat for stability, leaning back, raising my chest up towards the sky, and then extending through my legs. So we're using our hands to support that wheel. I'm pushing my hands, my palms into the wheel, allowing the head to just roll back, just working with that mid to lower part of the spine, relaxing down. And from here again, I kind of want to just bend the knees and start to rock backwards and forwards. So really just working at your own pace. If this is too intense for you, then maybe go back a step and just work into the upper part of the spine. Releasing, relaxing down, just working with your body. And we have to work with what our body has to offer us on any given day. So it could be totally different one day to the next. So I'm now just extending through the legs, sending the arms out to the side, pushing the chest up towards the sky. And my head is just dipping back. Breathe in. Inhaling. And exhaling. Maybe making just little movements. Good. And then placing the thumbs back onto the wheel for support. Inhaling into chest. And as I do so, dropping my bottom down onto the mat. Walking the wheel forwards. And again, just coming into that forward fold. Hands on the wheel. Inhaling, sitting up tall. Exhaling. Coming into a ragdoll, allowing the head to drop down and taking those breaths to just release through. So you could, if you wanted to, if you felt that it feels good, just pulse backwards and forwards, or just remain in that ragdoll position. Breathing in, breathing out. And then inhaling, looking towards how we are walking that wheel forwards. Sit up nice and tall. We're just going to rotate the shoulders backwards just a few times, just to release any tension that we may have got stored within our bodies. Always before moving into other poses, releasing any tension, and then just bringing them forwards, just reversing that action. And then inhaling the arms in line with the shoulders, taking the hands behind us, interlacing the fingers, pushing the palms together, and then just pulling the shoulders back, walking that fist away from our body. Breathe in, gazing forwards. Releasing our hands, and gently rotating the wrists in one direction. So our wrists are working quite hard for us today. And then back in the other direction. Wonderful. Okay. So again, walking the wheel back. And we're coming into our final back bend, which can be quite dynamic, quite a stretch. So if you feel that it's too much for you, again, just put the wheel where is comfortable for you today and just play around with that. So we're going to lean back. And you want your head on the wheel this time. Take your hands and place the fingers inside and the thumb out. Draw the heels together. And then push the hips up towards the sky. And from here you can just walk the arms backwards. I'm going to move forwards because I'm way going to headbutt that plant. It's taken me ages to grow it as well. I'm a nightmare with plants, normally kill them. So the last thing I want to do is ruin a perfectly good plant today. So just realigning. My head is on the wheel, hands on the inside, thumbs on the outside, drawing the heels together, keeping that hip alignment, knees in line with hips, and then pushing up and rolling back. So you can really come into a wonderful wheel stretch. So if you've got one of the smaller wheels, you may find that your elbows actually reach the floor here. I'm quite short, so my body perhaps isn't long enough to quite reach right up and over, or it's just not stretched enough today. Something for me to be working on. And then just taking the hips down and just starting to roll the whole spine, so you really are able to just roll right through from your head right down. Breathing, working through, breathing and rolling. And once you've come into your extension, maybe you can place your hands onto the floor, or you can extend right through. So I'm taking the arms into extension, walking the feet into extension too. I think I've just about got enough space here, guys. There we go. Breathe in. Breathing out. So because of the position we're in, maybe those inhales are not quite as deep, but that's cool, that's fine. Lovely chest opener. And then just slowly rolling in, placing the palms onto the floor, walking a few forwards, and maybe even pushing up into full wheel pose from here, if you have that in your practice. And gently lowering back down, rolling my bum down, grabbing hold of the wheel as I come into chest, bum down, legs in front of us, wheel in front of us, guys. And again, just going into that lovely forward fold. Breathing it through. So each time you use your wheel, maybe you can just stretch that a little bit deeper, that little bit further. But remember, each time we come to the mat, we bring something different with us. Some days our bodies just don't want to be pulled around, they don't want to bend. So never judge your body, just work with how you're feeling on any given time. And if your body doesn't want to do what you want it to do today, hey, there's always tomorrow, yeah? So just be kind to yourself. Breathe in and breathing out. Looking towards your wheel, inhaling up. And just pop your wheel down in front of you, just pop it down on its side so it doesn't roll away. So we're going to come into supine position, so laying down on our backs. Plant the feet, bend the knees, inhale the arms forward, and exhale, gently start to lower yourself down onto your mat. And then draw the heels in towards your bottom. Plant the palms down. You're going to inhale and just start to push into the tippy toes and raise our hips up to the sky. So as we do, we're bringing that wheel underneath us. Taking your hands to the outside edge of the wheel and then snuggling the shoulders in. So waterfall pose. And breathe in here. Chin to chest, guys. So having an inversion, having our heart higher than our head is amazing for our bodies. And it's just very instantly calming on the nervous system. Breathe in and breathing out. And just softening the breath down, lengthening through. So inversions are just great. They help to just give all of our insides a little bit of a shake up. It's like shaking up a stagnant pond, stirring up a stagnant pond, just allowing everything to move that little bit. Okay, so you can either stay here or come into plow pose, dropping the toes down. So the toenails are over your head, the toenails are on the floor. And just taking a few breaths in plow. Good, now choices to come out of this. Those of you that aren't particularly flexible through the spine, just gently move the wheel to one side and then lower your bottoms down. If you found that you were quite flexible through the spine, we're going to just send the legs back up, straighten through the legs, drop the legs down, turn the palms up either side of our head, roll ourselves up, chin to chest, and back up and onto our mat. Good, move your wheels to one side. And this time we're just going to come into a nice little forward fold without our wheel. Just a gentle feet together. Wing the knees out to the side, draw the heels close to the body. Grab hold of the toes, maybe give yourself a foot massage while you're down there, and just bow the head down. Just take some nice deep full breaths. So again, just that nice lovely little release on the base of the spine, that forward fold. Relaxing the head, the shoulders down. So we're here for a few breaths. While you're there, just have a little think about where you want to pop yourself for your final relaxation today. So you have some choices. You can just come into a normal corpse pose, Savasana pose, or you can come back into butterfly pose using your wheel and your props. You have a blanket, so if you wanted to snuggle yourself underneath your blanket, do so, feel free. Inhale, floating the head and the shoulders up. Or if you wanted to just elevate the legs again, you can always just place your wheel down, legs over, float yourself down into final relaxation pose. Choose a pose that's good for you today. I'm just going to come into just a normal Savasana, so I'm going to lie myself down nice and flat. Going to take my feet a little wider, allow my feet to just drop out to the sides. Relax the head down, lengthen through the neck, relax the shoulders, take the palms a little away from the body, palms facing upwards. I'm just going to very gently allow my head to roll to one side, releasing any tension, and then back to centre, over to the other side, and back to centre, softening the jaw, the forehead. And then starting to release that control over our breaths, so allowing that breath to happen quite naturally. And just releasing any control I still have over my body. So we're here for 4 or 5 minutes, guys. Relax down, relax the body. Relax the mind, and just be. In-breath just a little bit deeper. Start to invite your awareness back into your body, into the room. if you are lying on any props, then very, very gently lift yourself up, move the props from underneath you, pop yourself into an extended laying down position. Then all of us are going to inhale our arms up, float them overhead behind us and come into a really full body stretch, lengthening through arms, legs, fingers, toes, biggest, deepest stretch of the day. Have a little smile to yourself, or maybe a yawn. And once you've finished stretching, draw one knee into the chest, the other knee into the chest. Hug your shins and give yourself a little rock from side to side. Final little hug. Maybe time here to offer silent gratitude to your body for allowing you to do the amazing things that you do. Coming into stillness, we're going to allow our bent knees to drop over to the left side of your mat. Just be aware of any props down beside you, and roll your head to the right hand side. Final little twist. And inhaling, knees to centre, head to centre. We're going to drop our knees to the right hand side and roll our head to the left hand side. Interesting breath. Roll the whole body over onto the right hand side into a little embryo pose, and just take a moment or two here, just reconnecting with your awareness. No rush, no hurry. Very gently pushing into your left hand, drawing yourself into a nice upright seated position. Crossing your legs, or having the legs in front of you, maybe even kneeling, but just having that upright position with the top part of your body. Relaxing the shoulders, chin nice and parallel to the floor. Good. We're just going to balance our breath back out, ready for the rest of our day, and we're going to breathe into a count of 4, breathe out to a count of 4, 3 or 4 times. And I'm going to count you up and down. So relax the hands, the palms into the lap. Close the eyes one last time. Take a normal in-breath and a normal out-breath. And then inhale in 1, 2, 3, 4. And exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Last time, inhale and exhale. Place your right hand to your heart, left hand to your tummy. May this practice heal and strengthen our bodies and our minds. May this practice heal and strengthen your body and your mind. When you're ready, flutter your eyelids open. Just want to thank each and every one of you for joining my class today, along with these amazing yoga wheels. If you don't already have one, then they are widely available on the internet to purchase. I will be adding more classes using the yoga wheels, as well as lots of other props, lots of classes without props, lots of aerial classes, yoga trapeze classes over the coming weeks. So if you enjoyed my class today, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Gravity Yoga UK, and I hope to see you all again soon here on the mat. Thank you.